Well, let's bring in our guest athletic director from Ohio State, Gene Smith now. Gene, how have the athletic director discussions been like regarding the 10 conference games versus 9 conference games?
Well, the discussions went extremely well. We were fortunate to have that platform where we could come together in person and talk about all the different scenarios of looking at 9 versus 10 conference games, talking about divisions. And I think everyone is on the same page that we will not stay where we are. We won't do 8 games. And so we're looking forward to our next meeting when we come back together and look at the 9, 10 game models and make a final decision before the summertime hits.
What are the reasons behind discussions about playing conference games earlier on in the year?
Well, you know, it's scheduling your non-conference season is very difficult when you really think about it, and especially since we discussed not playing FCS schools in the future, primarily because we need to strengthen our non-conference for the playoff opportunities. We believe that the committee will put a strength of schedule weight factor in the non-conference schedule, so we need to strengthen our non-conference. Secondly, we believe our fans deserve stronger conference schedules. So we decided to do that, and when you move up conference games, that helps because people want to see conference games. Typically, those are stronger opponents than some of the teams we've played in the past, and it puts it in September. You know, September is a short window to try and schedule non-conference games when there's so few of them. So it'll help us spread out the inventory and give us more dates if we're able to do that, and it put it in an attractive time frame.
What about the other end of the season? How possible is it to have November night games going forward?
It's a possibility. You know, we discussed that, and we know that our television partners would love to have a broader opportunity for primetime games. We decided that that's something we should be open to discussing, and we'll continue to do that. You know, it's when you look at the historical weather figures over the years, the last 10 years, they're not as dramatic in certain parts of our conference as we all perceive them to be, and we'll look at that again in our next meetings. So I think it's a real possibility that you'll see some night games in November.
These are some changes to traditional Big Ten staples. Why make them now?
Breaking away from tradition is always difficult. Change is always difficult. What we have to do is make sure that we do not do anything to damage those significant traditions that represent who we are. And so we'll look at change, but protect those real strong traditions that we have, like playing Michigan at the end of the schedule for our rivalry, and others that exist that we'll be sensitive to.
So does that mean OSU-Michigan being played earlier is a topic of discussion?
Not for me, not for me. I won't be having that discussion. You know, we're committed to playing that game at the end of the season, and we're just fortunate to have that type of rivalry, so we're going to protect that.
It's a pretty strong answer. I'm curious your answer to this one. What's the likelihood that Ohio State and Michigan could play in the same division in the near future?
You know, it's a strong likelihood. You know, David Brandon, my counterpart at Michigan, and I had a conversation prior to this process, and we felt that we needed to go into the meetings leaning in that direction. We think it's advantageous to do that now that we're at 14 teams. But at the same time, we had to be open and listen to what's best for the league. And after our discussions in our face-to-face meeting, we still think that that's the best place for us to be. And until we hear something different, then we'll continue to lean that way and hope it ends up that way.
Gene, thanks for the time. Hang tight. We're going to get to you a little bit later on in the show. Is that cool?
Well, thank you. My pleasure. I'll be right here.